Hello, boys and girls. It is time for Writer's Workshop. This is Miss Alpine here, and today we're going to continue talking about narrative writing, and we're going to learn how to add some detail to our writing with some bada bing sentences. All right, we know that narratives have to have a clear beginning, middle, end. In the beginning, we want to set up our characters and our setting and a little bit into our plot. Then we want, of course, want to give the main plot or problem in the middle, and then end it with talking about how we solve the problem. And of course, we want to use words like first, next, then, and finally to show transition from one sequence of events to the next. Today, we're going to be looking at, in the writing process, drafting. Now remember, drafting is when we start putting our ideas into complete sentences. And as we're adding those sentences to our story, I want us to really think, how can we add details? I know every teacher's probably told you at some point, you need to add more details. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that today. And today, when we add those details, we're going to understand that this is part of the trait of ideas, and it's going to help us develop the ideas. It's also going to create some really good voice in your writing, and we're going to use really good word choice as we add these details. So every good writer, of course, wants their reader to really imagine what the characters are experiencing in their story. As we think about our narrative outline and we think about that roller coaster, and remember, we want the reader to feel everything that the character is going through. We want to develop those characters and develop that suspense. And then, of course, in the middle, we want that climax right here at the top, woo, into that falling action where we have that solution. And one way to do that is by adding bada bing sentences. Now, bada bing, I hope you remember because it's bada bing. It's really as simple as that. 1, 2, 3. We're going to take some kind of simple, boring sentences and we're going to bada bing them. And we're going to add more details about what the character's doing, about what the character's seeing, and about what the character is thinking. Bada bing sentences make boring writing come to life. They make it fun and exciting. Bada bing sentences will hook the reader's attention. It'll put a picture in the reader's mind. And of course, it's going to add all those details that your teacher keeps telling you to add to your story. And it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. So the first thing I want you to do, if you have a simple sentence, and maybe you're in your story and you said, the boy ran across the street. Okay, that's pretty simple, but can we add some bada bing details? Step 1, think about the action. Could I use a stronger action verb rather than he ran across the street? Of course, we know now we could say he sprinted across the street. Step 2, what did the character see at that moment? Maybe just then the character spotted his puppy that had ran away. Step 3, what is the character thinking at that moment? Or maybe what did he say? And we could say in this situation, maybe the character was so relieved he finally found the puppy that had ran away from him. So rather than just saying the boy ran across the street, now look at, he sprinted, he saw his lost puppy, and he was relieved that he found him. So do you see how many more details we added by following that bada bing 1, 2, 3 steps of adding action, what the character's seeing, and what the character's thinking? Here are some words, some strong words that will really help us when we go to add these details. So like for what they're doing, remember you could say he was driving, stumbling, sprinting, climbing. Maybe what the character's seeing rather than he saw, she saw. We could say they recognized, they spotted, they noticed. And for what the character's thinking rather than he thought this, she thought that, we could say they hoped for, they realized, they remembered. And so these are just some of those stronger verbs that we can use. Let's see some examples. Okay, let's look at this image over here on the left-hand side. All right, imagine we had to write a narrative about this. Well, in the narrative, you might say that the boy, he walked through the mud puddle. All right, it's pretty descriptive. That's what the boy is doing. But can we bada bing these details? So I want you to think step 1, is there better action verbs we can use? Step 2, What do you think the character is seeing or noticing right now? In step 3, what do you think this character is thinking or is maybe saying? Well, let's look at how we change this. So now this went from that last sentence to this. He splashed through the mud puddle. When he looked down, he realized his clothes were soaking wet. He imagined how agitated his mom was going to be when he got home. All right, this is so much better. Now we have some good description of what he did, what he saw, and what he was thinking. And notice all the words in yellow. These are going to be strong descriptive words, either strong verbs or strong adjectives. Again, remember, adjectives describe a person, place, or thing. Let's look at one more example. Look at this image over here on the left. Wow, there's a lot happening, and this looks pretty cool. So I want you to think. Oh, first, let's look at the boring sentence. The snowboarder made it through the ring of fire. All right, that's pretty good. But let's go through our 3 steps. First, what other action do you see here? There's a lot of action verbs I can imagine in my head right now. Step 2, what do you think this character is seeing as he's looking out right now? Ooh, imagine that. And step 3, what do you think this character is thinking? All right, now that we did our 3 steps, let's see what this bada bing details that we added to this simple sentence. Now it says, the snowboarder crouched low as he soared through the burning ring of fire. He squinted through his goggles and spotted the landing location through the thick smoke. If I land this, I'll be the champion, he thought proudly to himself. Oh, wow, doesn't that have so much more descriptive details? And look at those beautiful yellow words that are popping out, those strong action verbs and adjectives. And now we bada binged it, and we have so much more of an image in our head. Even if we didn't have that picture there, I can imagine what this character is doing, what they're seeing, and what they're thinking now. So for your assignment today, after you answer some of the comprehension questions after this video, what you're going to do is you're going to use an image to create your own bada bing details. Make sure you write complete sentences. And we're going to follow that same formula of what is the character doing with strong action verbs, what is the character seeing, and what is the character thinking. Try not to use the same words as you start each sentence. So you want to have some sentence variety there. And of course, use those strong, vivid verbs and adjectives. So here's your image. Wow, look at this. Could you imagine being where that character is right now? I wonder what that story is all about. Well, we're only going to write 3 sentences. You're going to write a complete sentence describing what the character is doing. Remember, use those strong action verbs. Then write a sentence of what the character is seeing. And then a sentence describing what the character is thinking. All right, that's your assignment for today. Let's go be writers.